there she is. Hey, Lauren. Oh, wait, I can't hear you.
Hello.
Okay, yeah, now I can hear you. Okay, okay.
Hey, Angela. Oh, Lori's here too. Oh my gosh, friends. Love that. How is everybody?
Good, good, good. How are you?
Hanging in? Um, we we've been struck down by COVID. So we're okay. We're
Oh,
hanging, but it's one of those things that like everybody's just at a different place every moment. So
yeah,
the price of travel these days.
yeah, yeah. Oh, good. We got a few more people joining. That's awesome.
Lovely.
I'm keeping my camera off. For some reason, it won't turn on. I apologize.
I have a computer that does that to me routinely. It just shuts off in the middle. I'm like, oh,
Well, I'm trying to turn it on, and it keeps telling me there's a switch that needs to be turned on, and there's zero switch. So,
That's
so I
weird.
don't know what's going on. And I'm really, really good with technology, and I even have an IT guy at my house.
Oh my
your
gosh.
own
I was gonna
personal
say,
IT.
yeah, technology's great just until it doesn't work, right?
Always,
Exactly.
always. My goodness, what a group you've amassed here. This is lovely.
Yay! That's awesome. I did have a couple people write me and say they couldn't be here, but what I posted somewhere, and I am going to post it to my Facebook page, so it'll be able to
Great.
access for people that couldn't make it today. So
Awesome. I'm just pulling up the doc that I created. I can share it with everybody. Do we want to wait a few minutes for folks to show up, or how do you want to do this, Scott?
um, I guess we can start if because I'll post it so they can always go back and see. So we can start.
Great.
Okay, so once again, if you didn't hear, thank you so much for being here. I actually invited Lauren to do a blog post, and she had this brilliant idea to actually do a live event. So I thought that was awesome. She is an awesome person, and she has helped my business tremendously, and she will continue to help my business. So I'm so excited about that. And but anyway, so I thought maybe that she could kind of impart some of her knowledge directly focused on travel agents, and I thought that would be a lot of help to you. And she's prepared an awesome document, and I can't wait to hear everything about it. So take it away, Lauren.
Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and share the document. It is a redirection to a Google Doc. So if you click on that, it'll take you to the Google Doc. If you have trouble seeing that, I can always share my screen, provided I have permission, and we can do that. But the thing that I think is really important before we talk about SEO is to get over the mental hurdle of what that really means. And I think that understanding what growing your search presence can mean for your business is really important. And so I'll be honest, I just submitted a panel to TravelCon, which is happening in Portland in May. So if any of you are interested, Amanda Bonner and I submitted a joint proposal because she's at Me and the Magic. We've been working together, similar to how Scott and I have been working together. And the thing that Amanda has voiced to me about it is how empowering it feels to finally understand why you're not being found, why everything feels like it's crickets, and then how simple it is to sort of shift into being in conversation with Google. So in my first business, I was a test prep course creator. Essentially, I created 6 different courses to help students get ready for the ACT and SAT. And in my 3rd year of business, starting in my 3rd year of business, Google sent 16,000 new users via organic search to my website every month. And when you are looking for that like brass ring of passive income, it's really hard to do if your funnel, the things that are bringing you inbound leads, is a trickle, right? You need that rush because not everybody's going to be the right fit for you. However, if they are the right fit for you, if Google can connect you and then they can make the choice of whether or not you're the right fit, it ends up leading to incredible abundance for you, incredible abundance for them, because as travel agents, you know that you save people time, save people money. There is an absolutely a dollar value to that. And for me in the college admissions space, I tied ACT and SAT scores to scholarship dollars. I know that I have had an impact on those families that is wide reaching. And so to me, if you can create this virtuous cycle in your business, SEO isn't just a marketing strategy, it is a way to help everybody succeed, and not least of which is your clients. And that's because if they don't know that you're there, they can't access your services. And when we have questions, when we have problems we're ready to solve, we ask Google about that. We Google it. There's a reason that Google is the ubiquitous term, right? So if you can be the person that Google matchmakes that says, hey, you have this problem, I know somebody who solves it, here, let me connect you to them. If you can be in those higher listings, that ends up allowing you the opportunity to make the case for why you are the best person to serve that ideal prospect that just came through your door. But there's a little bit of technical know-how. It can feel overwhelming, but I promise you it's not as overwhelming as it seems. So we go into that doc. I'm going to walk you through a few things that you can do right now to plus up your business, right? To plus up your visibility. So if you go ahead and click into the doc, let me know if you can't access it, and if you're okay seeing it, give me a yes. And if you can't see it, say ah. You can just type it into the comments. All right, I'm seeing
Yeah,
some
it just
yeses.
asked me to make a copy of it.
Yes, so
Yeah,
that's so you can't
perfect.
have access to my source material, just
Right.
because I want to be able to go through it and not have people typing in
Of
there.
course. Yeah.
It's a copy.
Perfect.
Yeah. That's a handy little hack, by the way. If you do happen to use a lot of Google Docs where it says edit, just change the word to copy, use that as the
Perfect.
URL, and off you go. So, alrighty. So I'm going to go ahead and open my doc too. The number one thing that I see people not taking advantage of is their Google business listing, Google business profile. It changes names all the time because Google is annoying like that. They just cannot plant their flag and say, this is what this property is, or aggregate everything. You're going to see I'm going to reference 3 different distinct Google properties, which is part of the thing that creates chaos in our minds. We're like, can I just do one thing, please, Google? You are Google. It doesn't allow for that, unfortunately. However, the Google business profile is really important. I looked it up this morning. There are 40,000 searches a month for the term travel agent near me. And so if you can put your business service area, I know you can serve anybody anywhere, but if you can be the, for me, Seattle travel agent, or even more specific, Sammamish travel agent, if you can be the Orlando travel agent, the Boston travel agent, and think even smaller, think even micro, there are 40,000 people every single month who are typing that into Google. And if your Google business listing shows up, then you can win that business. So I think it's really important to remember that, yes, having a website is ideal, but there are even easier ways to get into the ecosystem. And the first thing is to set up and plus up that business profile. All right, so make sure that you have that business profile set up. There's lots of tutorials about how to do that appropriately. The thing that I would make sure is on there is a link to your website, your phone number, your business address if you are comfortable with that, or you can put in your service area. Don't put in your home address, or you can just put in your service area. And then In the services, you can say request a free travel quote to Disney, request a free cruise travel quote, request a free, and you can put all that in as your different service offerings. And that will allow you to start to generate some traffic from those business profiles. So I would start there. So even at lowest hanging fruit, just get in there and set that up. For those of you who have email lists, another thing Google is cracking down on right now is the @gmail.com emails going out through some sort of marketing system. So if you search email deliverability and email authentication, and then whatever your service provider is, whether you're with MailChimp, I'm with ActiveCampaign, there are a few things you need to do to start having those emails actually go through. It started this month and they're going to be really cracking down. Now it's primarily focused on high volume senders, anybody who's sending 5,000 or more emails. I mentioned this here because if you don't have an email tied to your address, so for me, Lauren at laurengaggioli.com, not laurengaggioli@gmail.com. If you don't yet have a domain, a special domain, that kind of at something other than Gmail or Yahoo or Hotmail or whatever, you're going to need to purchase that anyway. So even if you don't have the website, you're going to need that email anyway. So if you haven't yet bought that domain, that's something to be thinking about if you've been sort of shying away from that. So I mention that here because email is the lifeblood of a lot of our businesses.
Does this affect you if you have a Google Workspace? Because ours is at pricelessmemoriestravel.com, but it's through Google.
That's okay. The domain needs to be okay, right? Yeah. So I have Google Workspace as well. Let me ask you, Cheryl, what do you use to send your emails? Like your bulk emails?
Gmail.
Oh, how large is your list?
So I don't send out newsletters or anything like that right now.
Okay.
So everything is independent, but it
If
all
it's
comes
one-to-one communication, that's fine.
right. And everything comes back as at Priceless Memories Travel, but
Yes.
because it's Google Workspace, it's technically Google.
Right. Yeah, that's okay because you're not doing bulk sends. This is the authentication piece is when you're going through something like a MailChimp, any sort of CRM where you're doing, where somebody is sending email on behalf of you. Your personal is okay. Yeah. So everybody falls in like a different category with this. And 5,000 right now is the threshold, but it's just good, best practices to have that quality email rolling through. So the fact that you have a branded email address is awesome, even though it is sent by Google. Alrighty, so any questions about the Google Business profile? Feel free to raise your hand, type it in. All right. And feel free as we go, if you have questions, go ahead and type them into the chat. And at the end, I'm happy to do a little Q&A session and answer any specifics to your business, anything more broad, we can absolutely get into that. So the next thing you're going to want to do is if you have an email address, I would highly recommend reflecting your service area on your website. And so easy ways to do this where you don't create kind of separation between people who just find you in the wilds of the internet and maybe aren't in your quote service area, is to say travel agent based in service area and serving folks across the globe or throughout the US or Canada or wherever. So you want to make sure that it's clear you can still serve people outside, but you want your local area reflected there so that Google understands that this is a person that when somebody searches travel agent near me, if you have that location tag, you have the ability to pop up. So doing things like having high quality hyperlinked anchor text is going to serve your SEO efforts. So if you say that second bullet point there, travel agent in, insert your service area, and then link that whole text to, you can send it right back to Google. You can also embed your Google business profile in your About Me page or Contact Us page and have, again, that language that reflects your local area there. Again, not making it prohibitive to somebody who's outside of that domain, but somebody who comes there, who is in your area, goes, oh, this person's a neighbor who also books travel. That's great. So getting back to that hyperlinked anchor text, that second little hollow bullet there, I have those 2 pages that are for those keywords, right? So SEO services for small businesses. If you click on that, it goes to my SEO services for small businesses. This is what I actually leverage on my own website if I'm doing guest blogging for someone else. If I am doing a guest podcast, a guest on somebody else's podcast, I ask for them to give me these links back as well with this language. And I'm precise about that because these are the terms I want those pages to rank for. If you do that for your service area and sort of create this loop between your Google business profile and your website, and then linking back out to that Google business profile, again, it just allows Google to understand how things are connected. And that is the biggest problem that I see people have on their websites, is that the pages, they have tons of pages, but they don't necessarily link together in any sort of way that makes sense to Google. So Google just doesn't index them. He says, I don't know what this is. I got plenty of content. I'm going to go dish up this other person. So if you want to raise your hand and be like, hey, this is what I do, Google, can you please send me people who are searching for a travel agent near me when they are in fact near me? This is a way that we can start to get that kind of that flywheel effect going. The first turn is always the hardest. It's hard to raise your hand and tell Google what to look for on your site. We will talk about that in a moment. But without doing much of anything, you can already elevate your presence just by capitalizing on this. And then step 3 is to collect reviews for your business profile, right? So go through your business profile to collect it. I create a really simple, pretty link. If you go to laurengaggioli.com/Google review, it'll redirect you to the ugliest URL you've ever seen. There's no way you're ever going to type that URL, that ugly one, into an email. However, if you can quickly off the top of your head be like, this is where you go to give me a review, it increases the odds that you are going to do it, right? Let's reduce all friction. Let's just make it easy. Push that easy button. Let other people push that easy button. So you may have a different way that you also collect reviews. I like giving people the option always of going to Google. I also have one set up for LinkedIn because LinkedIn is important for me as a business owner. LinkedIn might not be as important a platform for you. I know Scott has a lot in Facebook. The thing I distrust about social as much is that there's a lot of stuff happening where people are like losing their pages and just because somebody files a complaint. So what I do, even with my Google reviews, is I screenshot them as soon as they come in. So they at least have that kept in case, God forbid, my Google business profile went away for some reason. But to me, if you're trying to get found for travel agent near me and you can have a steady stream of reviews coming in, again, don't like flood it because Google will go, why did you suddenly get 153 reviews? Trickle it out. Make sure that you are building up that review bank over time and always reply to those reviews as well. So making it super simple, collecting reviews via your Google business profile, screenshotting it is a best practice, keeping a file of those on hand. You can always type them up to use them and in a different place. You could always link back to them if you put them on your website and say, Scott C left me this 5-star review. You can highlight that and link back to your Google profile. Again, just creating those connection points so Google goes, oh, this is a 5-star travel agent. How lovely. Let me send more people their way. All right, I'm going to dip back in here to the comments just to see if I can see anything. Okay, nobody has any questions yet. Again, feel free, raise your hand, yell it out. I'll just keep going if you let me. So, alrighty. So now we're going to get into some of the more website specific tactics. And this is where I live primarily, because the thing that I tell myself constantly is that all roads lead to my website. Social is lovely. Social to me, though, is a nurture channel. It's a place where I connect, it's a place where I stay connected. But if I want somebody to take action, I can curate a better experience for somebody if they come through my website, because I've laid that out with tremendous intention. And because I know the keywords people are searching, I can also meet them where they are and guide them through. I'm going to give you a free resource to find the exact language that people are using when they are searching in Google. And this is a wealth of information for us, not just for like how do we create content, but also to understand the pain points, because sometimes we're a little too close to it, or we're too much of an expert that we don't even know the questions that our true prospect, somebody who is, you know, a babe in the woods when it comes to Disney, doesn't have access to. Like, they don't even have the language to use sometimes. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But the first thing you need to do, and this is kind of a scary technical step because it just feels like, oh, wow, I'm going to get real visible real fast. It's not just going to happen overnight. However, the first thing we need to do is connect you to Google Search Console. So if you're unfamiliar with Google Search Console, it is not Google Analytics. Again, Google Business Profile, Google Search Console, Google Analytics. Why? Why Google? Essentially, this is where you raise your hand and say proactively, Google, I would like you to crawl and index my website. And what that means is that you are opening the door officially and proactively to say, please, when somebody types in a search query, dish up my website. Now, some websites end up being indexed by virtue of the fact that Google just finds them out there on the internet. They aren't necessarily proactive, but they do end up in Google. You may find that that has happened for you, and I'm going to give you a tool a little bit later to see. Well, actually, I'm going to give it to you right now, but there's a more robust way to go about this to benchmark your website and see how well it's doing. 96.5% of the web pages on the internet are not being given any organic traffic, 0. And of that, 3.5% that is being found, about 2% of those are getting 10 hits of traffic per month or less. So if you are getting anything above 10 on any one of your pages, hooray, you did it. You are in the top 1.5% of web pages. But if you don't know what that is, there's a URL right there, your traffic checker, where if you go type your URL into that tool, just whatever your domain is, it's going to tell you what it thinks your organic traffic is. Now, it can't tell what you're being referred by other people. So if you're really big in YouTube or Pinterest, or you're sending a lot of traffic off of social platforms, which is like, how did you do that? Getting off of Instagram or off of Facebook, congratulations, that's wonderful. But this will not measure that. This is what is the organic traffic that is coming to your site through search engines and primarily Google. So if anybody wants to go look that up, I would love for you to type in what you're getting. Okay, Cheryl has a great question about social. I'll talk about social at the end and circle back to that. So yeah, if you guys want to use that traffic checker, you can go. Cheryl, congratulations, you are in the majority at 96.5%. You did it. Yeah, listen, this is eye-opening for so many people the first time they do it. Angela, 0, well done. It's eye-opening, right? You go and you look and you go, oh my gosh. All right. I dare everybody to type in magicalvacationservices.com. Go check it out.
Yeah, that's what Google keeps sending me too. Like, I get those Google updates now because you had me sign up for it, and
Yep.
I'm up to 5K now, so I was really excited about
Yes,
that.
you are. I get them too because I'm in your Google Search Console.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, the Corey, it's in the document. It's Ahrefs, which is a terrible thing to say. Nobody knows how to spell it. Just traffic checker. There you go. Oh, okay, you got it. Yeah, Sky is up to 5,000 a month, which is just like, I think you hit, I want to say it was like 3,500 after we worked together for 6 months. You had been
Mhm.
stuck at
Yeah.
200. Debbie, killing it. Yes. Awesome. Um, so yeah, you'd been stuck at like 200 a month and you were doing a lot of things right. And then when we sort of pivoted, there you go, Debbie. Then when we pivoted, sort of the approach of everything and refined a few things, it popped really quickly. And that goes to Scott, you had the health of your website going really strong before we even started working together. Oh, yeah. Yeah, using www, did I say that right? I always think it's www. Gosh, I'm a Disney nerd too. When you have the World Wide Web versus not, they're different domains in Google's eyes. You do need to claim one, by the way. That is a little technical hack. All right, this is awesome. I'm glad we're seeing some really cool disparity here. Like everybody's kind of all over. And I hope that that gives you hope, right? Like it's awesome that some of you have some traffic. You're doing a lot of things right. And then 11, Corey, that's great. Oh my gosh, a fellow baker. I have to go off topic here a little bit. And Corey, I have to think you're a GBBO fan. My son made me make what is her name? Oh my gosh, Tasha, her entremet cake for his 4th birthday. I made like 8 elements. It was terrible. But he loved it. So Cheryl, question about organic versus non-organic. Okay, so when I say organic traffic, what I mean is somebody typed something into search, your website popped up, they clicked through. Something where all you did was create your content on your site and people found it through the magic of Google or Yahoo or Bing, but let's be honest, Google. Non-organic, I mean, there's direct traffic. That's people who just type in your URL and show up. There's referral traffic. So let's say Scott links to me from a blog post that he creates around this topic. They click through from his site. That's considered a referral. And social is technically a referral, but it is in Google Analytics, that third Google property. In Google Analytics, it is broken out as a separate kind of referral. But as we know, linking off platform on social channels, it's pretty difficult to do. Or if you do it, you get dinged in the algorithm. So it's not a preferred method for receiving traffic. I don't like, oh, okay. Yes. Yes, Debbie. Yes. Having a hand in why you are being found is absolutely important. So you're getting found for travel agent jobs and DCL cancellation policies. So Google has on your website, Debbie, decided that these are questions you answer and they're sending them to you. Now you can shift that. You have a hand in saying, wait a second, actually, what I want to talk about and get found for and be known for is this other thing. So if any of you know Phil Gramlich of Ear to Their Travel, we had a problem when we started working with his site because Phil is a Disney history buff. He is a Disney podcaster that focuses on the parks and all of the like fun fan stuff that we all love. But that's not necessarily what he wanted eartotheirtravel.com to be found for in Google. And so while he had this like huge catalog of amazing content that was all focused at Disney fandom, it was driving traffic, but it wasn't necessarily driving traffic aimed at driving new clients. And so what you need to think about when you're putting things on your website is the buyer's journey. And so we're going to get to that in the document next. So once you've checked your traffic, The next thing you want to do is submit your website into Google Search Console. And once you've done that, go to Bing Webmasters tool and also get found there because Bing feeds Bing and Yahoo. So there's links there to show you how to do that. That's a really technical thing. There's lots of tutorials on the internet to show you how to do that. But that's how you're going to more like vocally raise your hand and say, hey, Google, find me. And then if we move into step 5, this is where you're going to research the language your target audience uses. So again, as experts in the field, we know too much, right? If you're a Disney travel agent, you know what earmarked means. But the poor family who's never been before doesn't understand that, ADRs open 180 days out or 60 days out or whatever it is now. I can't even remember. I'm out of that world. But they don't know that what they don't know, right? They're just like, what's the best hotel at Disney World? Which we all go, hotel? Like, no, they're resorts. But they don't know that, right? They're just a poor family just trying to figure out how to get their feet in the parks. They are researching all these different pieces in a way that maybe we go, that's not correct. That's not what I would say. But we have to meet them with the language they are using. And there's an amazing free tool you can use to find the exact language they're using to create a bridge to what you know, to you as the knowledge expert. So what this process requires is stepping back from all you know, letting it go for a minute and saying, if I didn't know anything and I was looking for me to help, but I didn't know I needed me, what would I look for? So something like, Disney, best Disney hotel for couples, best Disney hotel for toddlers. And you would do the keyword research around that. Now, keep in mind, that is different than something like best ride at Magic Kingdom. Because if I'm looking for a hotel, I haven't booked yet. If I'm looking for a ride, I might be standing in the parks, right? And also we'd say attraction, but that's neither here nor there. So this tool, the Ahrefs keyword generator, is going to give you the tools you need to make choices about the language to use on your website. And then, Debbie, to your point, what that's going to allow you to do is kind of be more proactive in guiding Google and saying, this is what I want to be known for. It's not that you shouldn't have information about DCL cancellation policies, but maybe if that's what you're getting found for, what you're going to want to do is pull that off your website and put it in a document that you only send to clients. And then you still have that information available. It's just not front facing on your website. So if anybody's ever worked at a large corporation or an entity that had, like something like a front facing website, for clients, and then, a back end SharePoint website or something like that, that facilitated internal conversations, you have to think about where the keywords you're finding belong, right? Best ride at Magic Kingdom, maybe that should be in your welcome documentation. Like, hey, you're going to go to Disney World. This is wonderful. Here are some of my favorite things. Let me know when and where I can book these. And that's part of your user experience when somebody's booked with you. But maybe that doesn't go front facing on your Disney travel agent website. Maybe if you have a fan site, that does belong there, right? So thinking about who our ideal client is, how we're facilitating the conversation, what information do we want to be the bridge that brings them to us and allows our services or our products to be the next right step. All right, so Cheryl, then I see this week they have 0. They want to know if they can get to Magic Kingdom quickly from their hotel. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Cheryl. You're already dialed into the user experience, right? And thinking about what the front-facing website is versus like maybe what goes on behind the scenes. I will also tell you, Disney travel agent, it's really hard to rank for, but that is what people are searching for who don't know better, right? So when you do the keyword research and you start typing in queries, the thing I want you to remember, there's 3 pieces of data to this. It's very helpful to start a spreadsheet to sort of just track it. There's the keywords that you use, right? So that's the language you use. And you say keyword, but really it's keywords or phrases. So questions, full questions are being asked in the Google search bar. It's the exact language that people are typing into the Google search bar. So that's what a keyword is. The keyword difficulty, I think it's KD in the keyword generator. That's how easy or hard it is to rank for a particular term on a scale of 0 to 100. The harder it is, the more strong and robust your website has to be to even gain a toehold in the SERPs. So if you want to show up in those search engine results pages, you better have a robust website in order to do it. So what I say is the most important thing to think about, one, is the keyword in alignment with what it is you want to offer. And that comes down to thinking about buyer's journey. What are people asking right before they need to engage your services? What hotel, not what attraction, that sort of conversation. And then after that, you want the lowest keyword difficulty possible. For me, I am always advising clients think 10 or less. And you're going to start to see it can be kind of hard to find those. But 25 is a world away from 10 in terms of keyword difficulty. The higher the difficulty, the longer it takes to rank, the more backlinks you need from other people to rank. It's just really difficult. So think low. I think of it, if you're familiar with the Dave Ramsey snowball, small, start really super easy, lay that foundation, and then as your site becomes more robust, you can start to climb up and answer some of those more difficult and more challenging queries. Yes, it's compound interest. Start small, baby. And then the last one is volume. And so this is something that, especially for those of you who are Disney folks, you need to think about. This is the average of the monthly searches over the last 12 months. And so if you are looking and you're like, oh, food and wine festival, that's not very robust. Remember, there's going to be a very narrow season for that, or narrow-ish season for that. And if it's, let's say, 5 months that people are actually looking up the Food and Wine Festival, whatever is searched in those 5 months is then distributed across 12. So you can think it's gonna be one of those kind of seasonal posts. It's gonna ebb and flow as you go. So something to think about. I will tell you, I always think, some of you are getting 0 traffic. Can you get 50? That would be ideal then, right? That's 50 more people than were there. So kind of in similar fashion to, if you guys know Lou Mangello, he always says, if you had 50 people standing on your doorstep asking you questions, would that be a good thing? Yeah, it would. It would be a really good thing. And it would feel different. When it's just people on the internet, we don't think about it in those terms. But if we can help 50 people a month, when right now we're helping 0 from organic search, then that's 50 more than we had. And that's absolutely valuable. And you can create, help be of service to those 50 people. So absolutely, thinking about it in those terms, don't just go for the 1,000 volume keywords, right? Look for the easier opportunities, maybe with less volume to start. And then after that, you need to start creating consistent content. And so a lot of people, will ask me, like, do I really need a website? And if I have a website, do I have to have a blog? Because blog feels so 1990s. I've started using the term articles because blog does feel kind of dated. But the truth is, there are so many websites out there that are AI generated right now. And Google is not loving that the marketplace is flooded with content that all looks and sounds the same. And so one way to stand out is to write those helpful articles. Just think about, what questions do I get in my inbox? How can I find keywords that sort of match the answers I've already written 38 times? And then how can I take that information that I have, put it in a public facing forum, right, on my website, create an article so that the next time I answer that question, I can just drop that link in, or people can actually find me that way. And again, this comes down to thinking about that buyer's journey, thinking about what people ask before they come on as opposed to after. But if you can keep that idea of finding a specific keyword to target, really elevating that throughout the content, and making sure that when people come to you and they find that information with you, they stick with you. Having that next right step is really important. If you can create sort of that arc, that transformational arc. I came to you not knowing, you used the language that I used, and that drew me in as somebody who didn't know anything. You helped me make a transformation from not knowing to knowing. And now, how do I continue this relationship? What is the next right step? If you now know the best hotel for toddlers on Disney property, if you now have that information, what's the next right step? Is it to say, you know this piece, but do you know about ADRs? Do you know about Genie Plus? Do you know about the whole system that is somewhat prohibitive to the newbie at Disney World? Listen, I've been doing this a long time. I can help you have an amazing vacation. I can help your vacation dollars go further by giving you personalized guidance, park plans, etc., that are tailored just to you. You can get your free no obligation quote right now. Even if you don't necessarily know precisely when you want to go, let's get in touch. Let's get this ball rolling so that you can push the easy button and have the best vacation ever. And then give them the ability to do that, whether it's a form right there, a link to a quote request, that sort of thing. So you want to think about that whole flow, and you want to kind of close the loop, right? Don't have people come in and bounce off. Google did an update last September, and it really hurt people who were ranking very high but didn't create that next right step for people. People who came and bounced off got dinged because Google's watching the behavior of the people who come to your site. They want to see that the person who comes to you goes to a second page on your website. And then if they join your email list, they come back again. And so if all roads lead to your website, if you have a robust email list, you can sort of create this cycle that every email that you write can lead back to your website, to information that's there that's relevant and helpful. But Google watches and they're like, wow, this person found Angela through me, Google. And not only did Angela encourage them to continue to stay with her, they went to 3 different pages on her website within a matter of minutes. And then 3 days later came back to her website, and then a week later came back to her website. Angela must be doing something really right because she is helping this person such that they're continuing to come back. And Google's watching that. And the people who take care of those people on the other side of the screen who come to them via Google, Google is elevating those folks' presence because that's something AI can't duplicate. They can try, but it's not going to be there for a while. And even if it is, I think this idea of like AI generated content, eventually we're going to be so savvy, we're going to know the difference, right? I think a lot of us already are catching on, like, this site feels like there's cobwebs in it, right? There's just like drafts blowing through, versus those that feel warm and inviting and like a real human touched it. So I think we know the difference. If you want to see a really good example of someone who's doing this well, you can check out Scott's article. He has 5 grocery stores near Disney World. Might be useful for you to link to from something you are creating. And that brings me to yet another point, which is that linking between your own site's content and also linking between other people, your trusted providers in the space, being generous with those link outs, using quality anchor text, all the things. Really, really powerful stuff for building this sort of cycle that allows Google to go, okay, not only do I now understand what's kind of linked together on your website, I now also understand the providers you trust and they're linking back to you. This is why if in the homeschool community, like blog hopping was such a big deal back in the day, because you had everybody commenting on each other's stuff. These kind of rising tides lift all ships, and interlinking websites lift everybody's URLs. So something to think about, as you go through those who you are friends with and people you enjoy their work. Make sure to give them shout outs on your website. Make sure you link them well with anchor text, like I did here with my my post as well as with Scott's. You want to make sure that you're doing that throughout, and that will help you get found in Google, especially if you've already raised your hand in Google Search Console. So I'm going to get to questions, but before I do, I just want you to know there's a lot of different resources that I have on my website. If you want to learn more than just how much traffic are you getting, if you want to see a bigger picture, I have a DIY website audit that I've linked here in the second bullet. It's a great free 3-part mini course. You're able to go through and sort of understand how your site is performing, not just how much traffic are you getting, but what's your domain authority, which is something we didn't really even touch here. And what are some of the additional tools that you can leverage to really understand what's going on your website. I do have a course about SEO that's going live, and right now we're in really early bird, so it's a $200 savings. It also comes with a accountability group. So 2 months free of the Digital Entrepreneurs Accountability Group. We meet, we do quiet co-working sessions in order to get work done on our business, not just in our business. And then lastly, if you found this presentation helpful, please give me a Google review. If you learned something new about SEO, I always love hearing feedback. And don't forget to leave Scott a review as well. I've linked his up there. So lastly, I want to get to any questions that you have about SEO. Feel free to unmute. I'm happy to answer. We can have conversations if you have something specific on your website you want to talk through. If it's broader, totally fine. All the things welcome. Cheryl, kick us off here. Oh, the travel center websites. How
So I
love that.
had the question earlier too about the social media sites like
Yes,
TikTok, and
we will
is it
talk about
important
that.
to set something up on our website that shows a feed of most recent post or something like that, and then ties that, because sometimes on TikTok maybe I'll put something together that would be helpful. That's not really a blog post, obviously.
Sure. I will tell you, I do not love sending people away from my website. Once I got them there, that's like the mecca, right? Like, oh my gosh, I got you to where I control the user experience, not some algorithm, right? And so what I think happens sometimes is we feel like we want to be like, but I'm everywhere, right? Come and see me here and there and everywhere. And I totally understand that impulse. I did it a lot back in the day. I think once they're on your website, that's where you want to keep them. Not just because it helps the person behind them, because Google's watching how that person's behaving. And if they see, they come and then bounce off because TikTok's more fun. I would rather curate an experience and focus people's attention. So what I might do, because I'm sure you have amazing social content, once you get them on your email list, maybe the second, send a welcome email. If you have some sort of core post on your website where you're like, this is my everything guide to the world or whatever. When you have that core offering and you get people sort of seeing how you do things on your website, maybe the second or third email in a welcome sequence is, and did you know I love connecting on social? And then you send them to social. Because what I would hate to happen is somebody finds you on social, they clamor through all the algorithm stuff to finally get to your website, and they just boomerang right back. So I would think about that. Like, and that's again coming from a strictly like I want to control the experience. So
What
yeah,
about like, so YouTube is connected with Google.
yes.
And so I use Google products exclusively, and I have for years.
Awesome.
But so I know that YouTube is one of those ones. Is it better to then maybe if I made a video and my social content, everything, by the way, is a hot mess. I have so much business though. I don't even do social media and I have too much business. So it's
That's
like
great.
it's blowing my mind. But
That's
if
awesome.
I put a video together, is it better to embed a YouTube onto my website?
Yes. So I do this with I don't do it with my courses because I don't want people being able to access it. But I use it as a hosting service. I don't leverage it as a social platform. So you can get into the Google algorithm with shorts and like releasing every day at this time and all that. I don't care about that. What I do is I SEO optimize my videos for blog posts that I've created on my website, and then I embed them there because that's going to increase the time spent on page, which is a metric that Google is looking at. So I love that you are using it in similar fashion and highly, highly recommend that for gated content, you wouldn't put it on Google. I use Vimeo for that with like privacy settings. But for things you want people to find, what I do is I post it on YouTube. I have a TTML or an SRT file to do the closed captions because Google doesn't hear so good. You want it to have like the language backing. So they do automatic closed captioning. I tend to upload my own SRT or TTML file. And then I write a nice description, but in the description, I'm linking to the content on my website that is related. And like, if you want to learn more, come here, right? Or here's the link to the full blog post. Um, and then you can also make calls to action to whatever offer you have. So if you have a free opt-in that gets them to you, and your free quotes count as a free opt-in, right? They're getting onto your email list to do that, because we don't own Google subscribers, right? That's just not a thing. So anything we can do to leverage and get more email addresses, the better off we're going to be. Did that answer your question?
It does.
About
And
social?
then the second thing was about the travel center site. And Debbie mentioned something about we're not supposed to link directly to Disney. I was just using that as an example. Like, is it better to do something that's a small website, like each of us have our own sites that we've created,
Right.
versus a bigger site like a Disney site, which is better? You mentioned linking
Yeah.
to a bigger site.
So you're not supposed to, as a travel agent, link to, like, if you say, like, my
Disney
favorite
has all
pool
kinds
is,
of rules that travel agents break.
oh, interesting. Yeah, you don't want to get in trouble with Disney. I didn't realize that. But there are enough Disney fan sites that if you wanted to link, yeah, Disney is very difficult. For the love of the mouse. Um, so yeah, you could link to a fan site that is covering similar topics. So like if there's or you can't even link to the hotels. Like you can't link to hotel link listing.
Nope.
The link that I shared was a link to my agency's center. So it will have
Yeah,
our
I'm
agency's
familiar
information up at the top. And it
with
looks
those.
similar to what you would see if you saw Disney's site, but it's not
Right.
because it doesn't link everything. And I was just sharing, is it better to do something small like that versus something big like a generic WaltDisneyWorld.com? And that's not even their main website, but is it
Right.
better to do something like that we have content, or is it better to link to something bigger?
Okay, so better, like, are you thinking in your blog posts?
Yeah, give me 1 second. My dog is freaking out.
Yeah, no
But
worries. I've got one.
it it
She's
it was it
magically calm
was
right now.
you said something about you want to have the content and you want to link to your other sites, but you also want to link to sites that you trust, is what I
Right.
think that's how you said it. So
Yeah.
the sites that you trust, would it be better to link to my Disney Travel Center that's a smaller site that doesn't get as much traffic, obviously,
Right.
versus a bigger site like Disney.com?
Ideally, you're linking to Disney official properties, right? Like that's where the traffic is. So
So it's better
here's,
to link to a bigger site that would get more traffic as a trusted site versus a
yeah,
smaller one that has the same similar information.
But wait, are you saying though that that other site should link back to you in a circle? Like if I'm linking to Scott and Scott's linking to me, or you're just saying linking to that bigger site? But I agree why you don't want to link to Disney anyways, because you don't want someone off on another site. You want to keep them in your own.
I will tell you, I think if people go to the Disney site and they came through from you. So first of all, okay. So let's just start with you're creating a blog post, right? And there's a question you're answering. What's the best pool at Disney World, right? As you go through there and you're answering the question of what's the best pool at Disney World, you want to be creating a post that in and of itself can be found when somebody searches that query, right? Now, whether that's in alignment with your strategy and everything, that's a separate question. But let's just assume that this is the content you want to create. You can choose to isolate that content and keep it within your own ecosystem. 100%. The thing that's going to kill it is if you are not linking in from other content on your own site and you are not supporting it with a robust enough documentation. So you want images, and this is something that content that converts presentation that I linked to in the document will help you with. How you craft that content is the most important thing. That's number one. Number two, Google likes to see your expertise, your authority, and your trustworthiness, your EAT. And what that comes down to is that you are a domain expert in Disney, right? So you can prove that by publishing multiple posts about Disney and building out robust content around the Disney topic. The other way that you indicate that is by getting backlinks from other people. And so having links coming into best pools on property, you go and search best pools on Disney World property. The first few posts that come up, you're likely going to notice that they link out to other people and that they're linked from other people. So it's a catch-22. I know it feels like you're giving up potentially clients. They're going straight to the Disney site. So in that instance, you could link to whatever properties you mention in your own personal mini site. That would work. Those mini sites, I doubt rank. I bet they're not even indexed. I bet Disney's locked them down and you have no control over that. And so Google also wants to see that you are elevating other trusted resources because Google doesn't want you resource hoarding, right? They don't want you being like, I am the end all be all. Like people with true trustworthiness share with other people they trust. They elevate other people they trust. And so the way you get around this when you are linking out is you always have that link open in a new tab so that your site isn't closed down. It's not like they're passing through to Disney. Disney's opening in a new window. So if you're trying to follow the rules, right? If the rules are you can't link to Disney, I think the next best thing from an SEO perspective would be to link to other trusted authorities. So, like my friend Jim over at factsandfigment.com, he does a lot of like Disney history stuff. If you can link out to him, he's a trusted domain in the field. If Scott has a post, like if you're doing something about how to get best ways to get your Disney groceries on property, you could link out to Scott and you just have it open in a new tab, right? So you're not necessarily shutting down the traffic that came to you. You are also sharing, though, the wealth of what you are building. The idea around backlinks is to get those from other websites, which if you're linking out to other people and other people understand SEO and are linking into you, that creates this virtuous cycle. It doesn't always have to be a link swap, although you can do that. But you do want to have inbound links from a backlinking standpoint to show your trustworthiness, but also sharing it shows your trustworthiness too. So there's sort of a couple of different things you have to manage here, which is the rules of Disney for travel agents. Can you link to their property? That if you can't, then don't link directly to Disney. Go to your mini site or another trusted resource. And you don't have to do a ton of that, right? So you don't have to do, 5 links out in every single post. But for example, when you do that, it allows somebody to see more information, and it kind of depends on how you're wanting to curate the experience for your user. You can choose not to do it if you feel like I'm just going to write my content, but then you really need to have robust internal links so Google understands how the different parts of your website all connect, because that's going to be really important. They don't want what's called orphan pages, which is there is a singular page, it's connected to literally nothing. It's just hanging out there. So having those blog archive pages is a first step, but then also connecting to the other information. So in writing about your very favorite pools on property, if you've done posts about the hotels the pools are at, something like Yacht and Beach or Coronado, you can natively within that text link to your other posts around those topics. Okay, so I'm seeing information. Oh, bye, Lori. Hopefully I probably missed her. Sorry. Disney allows linking to Disney travel professionals' YouTube videos. Yes, absolutely. And I wonder if you could even embed those videos directly with like a source like credit with a link back.
So is that better
Yeah.
than a personal? Because I've always found that people would rather see my personal experiences, and that's why they trust me. That's why they book with me versus something that I've shared online.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the spirit you want to create on your site, right? Are you the figurehead, right? And if you are, and if you know, if people have expressed like, hey, I love hearing your experience, by all means, stick with that. The thing for me, not everybody's comfortable getting on video. Not everybody's comfortable creating that content. And if that is the case, I would rather they have something rather than thinking like, well, if I can't do video and X, Y, and Z, then I just shouldn't do anything. Like a lot of this has to do with the personal comfort zone of where you're starting. So if you're comfortable doing that and you're there enough to create enough content to fill the content coffers, then by all means, make it you. I think that's wonderful. Make sure it's optimized in YouTube, doing that embedding strategy. That's fantastic. The link outs, again, can go to your domain trustworthiness. So I use in WordPress, I have Rank Math as my SEO tool, and it will tell me, hey, you didn't link out to any trusted resources in this post. You want to link off your domain. And so it is a measure, but it's not a quantifiable measure. So what I would say is, this is going to be like a double negative. Don't never link out. Like, try and find those opportunities where you can. But that doesn't have to be the primary way that you connect to other sites. There can be other ways. But Google will start to say, hey, this person exclusively with all content only links themselves. They might not like that, and you might see like you don't see as great an impact as you could possibly have. So be careful about who you link to. You don't just want to be, linking out constantly, but you do want to have enough link outs that you're like, hey, I'm being a fair player and like I'm elevating people who I do trust in this space. One of the hardest things about this stuff is there's no real hard and fast rules. There's best practices, and then you get to choose how you leverage and pull the strings of each of those best practices. And that all comes down to comfort levels and where you feel your expertise is best highlighted. Is it in elevating others? Is it in doing it all yourself? And where you fall along a spectrum for the answering those questions. It was good stuff. I learned stuff today. I love that.
Me too. And we've been working together for a long time, and I even learned some stuff, so that was pretty cool.
Yes, sir.
So, well, let's wrap this up. Does anybody have any last questions before we shut down? No? Okay. Well, thank you so much, Lauren. I truly appreciate this. This was awesome. And I can't
My
wait to share it with
pleasure.
everybody. I'm sure we'll get a lot more views because I had a bunch of people say they couldn't be here. So so excited. So thank you very much. And thank you for everybody for attending. I appreciate it. You guys had some great questions, and it was nice to get to hear your voices because I only see your names and emails most of the time. So and on orders. So, but thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Everybody have a good day. Have a good night.